Right. Just want to start this. Caroline Ansell MP, you are full of utter, and what I'm about to say, I mean in the nicest possible way, you are full of utter bollocks. And I don't swear, but I'll explain why you are. On so many different levels. Eastbourne Future, this paper's just come through the door. I am watching so many videos. This is why I want to go up to London to speak out on the streets about the crimes against humanity. Inside, how our local MP is working with our police and crime commissioner to cut crime. I am going to speak out on the streets of London and Eastbourne about you and your corrupt, lying, malicious, and you're meant to be a Christian. Well, it doesn't mean anything anyway. It's a Hellenised word, as my partner said. Pagan. Well, we know that there is so much false teaching. We know what's going on in those places. I've exposed it many times on my channel. I've talked about it. And me and my partner have woken up. We're nothing to do with Christianity, but you know, I'm closer to Yahweh's name. But it's your works, Caroline. This is an MP, this is a local MP that didn't want to, when my partner, now I don't know what he said to her to make her say this, or if he said anything. But just like Stephen Lloyd, she didn't feel safe meeting me. Why? Because I suffer with mental health, right? Yeah, that's just about every constituent. After all, we all suffer with our mental health. These utter psychopaths, though, if they're not narcissists, they're sociopaths or worse, psychopaths. Because the crimes against humanity that have been committed against me from this council and the police, and I've survived, and why I want to speak out. This MP didn't want to meet me, and yet, because, you know, obviously I'm a dangerous person, aren't I? I'm a very dangerous person. And yet, it was reported that Caroline Ansell, no one likes her. Well, apart from her, well, you know, the ones who are in the club, who sold their souls. They, you know, as I said, there's a stronghold for Freemasonry in this town. There's a local lodge. The Grand Hotel has got a checkered floor and an Eye of Horus outside, and it's on Google Map. Apparently, you can see the it's not just me, it really is an eye. Yeah, the Illuminati is in Eastbourne, yes, make no mistake. But this woman did not want to meet me because people with mental health are dangerous. And yet there was a man in the local Herald who said, quote, "If Caroline Ansell stops my benefits, I'll knife her or stab her or something." And Caroline was like, "Oh, poor man, I'd like to meet up with him." Yes, that's true. Yes. Look it up, Google it. Oh, the Police and Crime Commissioner Katy Bourne. Katy Bourne, who targeted She should just stick to Rodine dance school, shouldn't she? Girls' school for dancing, or whatever it is that she does. She targeted John Alexander Patterson because he exposed baby organ harvesting, fraud, theft and money laundering. A brave hero, the people's hero. I still don't know what's happened to him. I know why he asked Andy Devine to step down as his power of attorney, though. It's amazing. You know, I had the Chief Constable of Peckham Police offer me an apology back in 2008 over an incident where one of the officers called me simple, and they're supposed to be the most racist, murdering police scum. But I've never had an apology from Eastbourne Police for the last 8 years of crimes against humanity. This is for the brainwashed. This is for the socially engineered. I'm watching, so I can't even tell you. In the same way that I can't count the number of times I've been arrested, I can't count the number of times I have seen horrific crimes by the police and on the vulnerable, the disabled, the elderly, and just the innocent. Local people tell ANSELL their top priorities. I'll have a look at this, even though it's only good enough for one thing. Wiping your bottom on. That's what they used to do during the war. Used to use newspapers. That's only the only good thing about newspaper, is you can use it to put shit on, because it's full of shit. There's something about Katy Bourne. Oh, tough new laws to cut crime. This is all about making Eastbourne safer, right? Yeah. Well, answer me this, Caroline. Why did you get your buddies to come down to Belmore Road, where I recorded elderly Riverbourne residents saying that that place you're in has got a terrible reputation, where convicted criminals were attacking me to the point where I thought I'd be killed. One of them was on a tag. One of them was mentioned in the BBC National News as mugging the elderly. And me, and I've got the recorded evidence. And a Sergeant Simmons, it was, told me to purchase a dictaphone to record antisocial behaviour. Then they arrested me for recording antisocial behaviour. So you all knew, because Brighton Housing Trust, Lorraine Blackwell, who was practically in tears asking me not to record her. Why? Because she's under the thumb. She's under your thumbs. And you got a man with a lanyard to come out from the council to threaten me to stay away from the Riverbourne house with vulnerable elderly residents who were doing your jobs, and Councillor Stephen Holt failed to stop and correct. And yet he was on a leaflet in the property saying he's taken over as head of housing and cabinet for community, because who was in his job before that? Councillor Alan Shuttleworth. Him and David Tuck were at the Eastbourne People's Assembly in 2016 pretending in front of all these people to listen to me, and then the next 8 years they put me through non-stop torture to try and shut me up. You are absolute cowards. You're allowing illegal people to enter this, to come in on boats, in dinghies. I've just heard about the Afghan man who won't be sent back to Afghanistan for what did he do? He publicly masturbated, yes, in this country, came over here illegally, masturbated, committed a serious offence. But we have to think of the poor young man, because if he's sent back to Afghanistan, in his culture, there'll be gangs of mobs after him for doing that. But it's all right, because he's come to the UK knowing he can do the hell what he likes and he'll be protected. £13 million a day to put them up in luxurious hotels, whilst young people born in this country are dying on the streets, and you're making out that you want to clean up the streets of Eastbourne. You're not going to do that. You're just brainwashing people with your British stiff upper lip. Nice English lady, yes. Bollocks, bollocks, bollocks. That's all you're full of. That's one thing that this corrupt landlady was right about. You're full of bollocks. This 85-year-old landlady, that's the only thing she's right about. She's committed 2 crimes against me. She's breached my rights under Section 27 of the Equality Act. But she's right about one thing. You're full of bollocks. Social services, the local authorities. You tortured me. You tortured me when I was exposing a woman who had 22 previous convictions, with her and her mother, who were Sherelle Clark and Dion Clark. Have a look online. Mother and daughter jailed for 5 years for mugging the elderly. It was mentioned in the BBC. But you great big nappy-wearing cowards, because let's face it, the real men and women of this country died fighting for nothing, fighting for our freedoms that are being taken from us. They died during World War I and World War II, which my mother and grandmother lived through, only so that you lot could breach my rights and commit crimes against humanity. This is why people aren't paying their council tax, to fund your crimes. You are being paid well to serve us, the public. I helped a plainclothes police officer not too far from the Salvation Army. He had a man on his back, he needed backup, and I rang the police for him. What did you do? You got Sergeant Simmons. Sergeant Simmons tells me to purchase a dictaphone with serious criminal evidence which none of you have looked at. You've all covered it up. Eastbourne Police watch my videos. That numpty, that boy that turned up here a few days ago. Yeah, what was his name? PC Wright badge number EB411, threatening me and the primary school teacher that I've just reported to the TRA. There's a lengthy process for that. She goes on to ignore his police caution only to commit crimes that are not too dissimilar to the convicted criminals in council accommodation. The only thing that she didn't do was physically attack me. But the verbal abuse was no different to those convicted criminals. How did someone like that get into... Well, just listen to my previous phone call, which I will upload. Because I'm going to wait for the... Because I was mentioned in the Eastbourne Gazette on the front page headline about being bullied. School bullying. I've been bullied by school teachers. Well, I'm being bullied by a school teacher again, a tenant in my own home who's breached her contract. But you lot are a joke. You don't like me. You're scared of me. Your councillors get paid well. Oh yes, very well, very well. I've heard the figures. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands of pounds. and you want to shut someone up, you get the thugs. The worst crimes to date. I've been beaten and assaulted by them I don't know how many times, arrested. But the LBS Films Limited say there is no limit to when you can report crimes against humanity. So PC, what's his name? McCarthy. My partner got his badge number, but he wouldn't give it to me when we were reporting this primary school teacher, because he arrested him as well. They took my home. This was a response to my father's death. I still haven't found out how my father died, because the supported flat that I fought to get into, after just 4 months, they beat me. The police beat me on Beachy Head so badly. You can see the bruises on Facebook. But he injured I couldn't move my hands, and then he did it again. That PC McCarthy did it again. But it's okay, because I was in the right place. I was in A&E. This is a hospital, by the way, where I visited my dying mother before she went into St Wilfrid's Hospice. And of course, the Freemasons love to support. They love to support. They love to support our NHS. Yes, those Satanists, the Freemasons. They also like to support. Because I tell you what, when I go up to London, I am going to once again meet people who've witnessed murder and had sexual abuse by these Satanists, these Freemasons. Yes, I worked with a Freemason. He wanted his wicked way with me when I was a teenager, and he was old enough to be... He was older than my father, actually, but I didn't know what a Freemason was back then. But I do now. I know more than anything I could ever have possibly known. You allowed these thugs. You just wanted to silence me, not help me. You've slandered me. I came close to suing the Eastbourne Herald for libel, but I became so exhausted. The legal ombudsman came very close to suing Cramp and Mullany for me, but again, it got too much in the end. But you just ramped it up, didn't you? You want people... John Alexander Patterson said to me, because Eastbourne police captured him outside the Royal Courts of Justice, and Neil Luberry was there. She's speaking on LSB Films. And he said, don't take your own life, because that is what they want. They are trying to kill us off. They've managed it. They've done it with the mass genocide. They've managed it with the jibby jabbies. But if they can socially engineer it any way possible, that's great for them. If you can top yourself, you'll be making them happy. So don't. Okay? Don't. Follow my line of suit, whatever the phrase is. Follow my example. Okay? Fight for your freedoms. This is what my mother did. I've just been watching part of an elderly woman being... I've just watched a video of an elderly woman and what the police... Oh, God. And another... It's meant to be a civil matter, but the police are getting involved in crimes. It's all about you know, the coffers, isn't it, you know? And the amount of money these police officers get paid, the more corrupt they are, the more they get paid. Was it 66 grand a year? What? So they can dance at gay pride and put people in prison for calling a he and a she, you know. But we don't have the resources to come out. We don't have the resources to tackle actual crime. That's why you've got to take matters into your own hands. I predicted over 20 years ago that one day there'd be riots on the streets, and it's already happening. It's already happening. My predictions were correct, but that was just, I wasn't even predicting, I was just came up with an idea. But Katy Bourne. Anyone who silences a man. They're all free, but Katy Bourne is a Freemason. She's a female Freemason. But as I said, even in the truthers community, you've got to be careful because there are some dodgy. I would still like to know why people have said some very, very frightening things about John Wedger to me personally. And this was after it took guts for me to phone the man on his mobile. This is a man from MI5 who's lost people to suicide, who makes out this is someone I had a lot of respect for. He's been at the protests that I want to join, and I will find it hard not to speak out, and I won't be afraid of what his minions say. You know, I'm not into joining a cult or supporting someone who has set something up because there are, unfortunately, as I've learned, there are scammers out there, and they use the scamdemic, the mass genocide, because the best time for scammers to step in is when there's a big worldwide nonsense going on, because that's when people are at their most vulnerable. But the fact that this man from MI5 that I thought was so brave said to me, I must have done something to deserve crimes against humanity, yet he says he's been targeted by his own police force that he whistle blew. Why would he say that? And he couldn't wait to terminate my call. I've had enough. I might as well then just paint him as another one of these. They're all the same. It's like being in this house, all this narcissism. I don't like this person. Oh, I don't like them. But then they both abuse me. Do you see what I mean? Folks, you gotta... I really am a one-woman vigilante, aren't I? Anyway, I'm supposed to have had this support worker ring me at 2 o'clock. I think I'll just give a quick call to the neighbourhood policing team. After all, they watch my videos. This Simon...
Vodafone voicemail service for 07912893374. Please leave a message after the
It's just gone to voice message again. It's a waste of time. Hello there, Simon. This is Bryony speaking again. I've left several voice messages for you. As I said, I'm not letting this go. I know you all watch my YouTube. As I said, PC Right EB411. He said he watches my YouTube. He's threatened me, and then the tenant, that I'm complaining about ignored his police caution and went on to commit crimes against me. And now, as I said, the council have been informed, and I also heard her school has been informed. It's not a primary school, it's a secondary school. But if you all know about my YouTube, then this is going on YouTube anyway. So, you know, it doesn't make any difference either way. So I can keep leaving voice messages and whatever, really. Yeah. So as I said, yes, I missed your call out the other day, but this is serious because, you know, I was mentioned in the front page of the Gazette in a headline when I was bullied at school to the point of suicide. This is in SEAFORD. Yeah, so, and it did involve teachers, but that was never mentioned in the article. So I'd be very concerned that this tenant that has abused me so very badly in my own home has children in her charge. So Simon, it's up to you, Simon. What are you going to do about it? Okay, all right, I'll leave it at that. Bye.
To leave your message, press 1. Message sent. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
You get to that point where you've got to be a little bit less polite. After all, they've committed crimes against humanity. Serious crimes. These people that you taxpayers pay for should be in prison, right? And I don't want to get to a point where the trauma takes over so much so that I might end up, I don't know, lashing out or something. Because after all, these are crimes against humanity. You taxpayers are paying for criminals to govern us. To govern us. That is why they've tried to silence me. The Illuminati, the Freemasons, the local Eastbourne Freemasons who watch my channel and have done everything humanly possible, and I'm still here. I'm still here. Keep smiling. That's one thing I will agree on with. One thing that I will agree on with Andy Devine, despite what he's done. Keep smiling. Keep smiling. We're winning. We're winning. That I do agree with. And YHWH Shalom. Now I've got to ring Charlotte, this support worker, because this lady at the council has tried to prompt her to help me and to set up the very housing benefit that, or universal credit that should have been set up that wasn't, but as the only reason why I'm here is because the council took my home. So I'm enjoying this because it's all going to fall back in the laps of the very people that have done this to me. Honestly, for all you people out there, it doesn't matter whether you're homeless, what your situation is. If you're out there sleeping rough, get off your asses and fight. They forced me to sleep rough. I think that some of these psychopaths would really have liked it if I had actually jumped off Beachy Head, because as John Alexander Patterson, the people's hero, who exposed fraud, theft, money laundering, satanic baby sacrifice, the sacrifice and murder, the murder of babies and children. I met him in the psychiatric unit. Eastbourne police were torturing him as well as me. And he said, yeah. And where is he now? Where is he now? Did they assassinate him? I don't know. Abba Yahweh, Please be with him and be with that poor man, that bishop. There's a bishop that I sometimes watch on YouTube. He speaks fluent Arabic, and because he's able to speak fluent Arabic, he's managed to expose the lies in the Quran, and it's on YouTube. He was stabbed. And I've watched this. I was in tears yesterday. Paul Thorpe showed it. I've watched this man with some of the biblical teachings that he's done, and he's just been stabbed, and I've been crying about it. Poor old man. This is what's going on in the world, folks. You've got to, and it just, I know that there are so many reasons why I can't speak to my Iranian lady friend. She said some things that, she's so in her own bubble though. She's got a statue of Buddha. I've got to be very careful what I say, but she's a beautician, and these are very demonic things. A statue of Buddha, you're inviting so much demonic activity in your home. Why has she got a statue of Buddha, and yet she's celebrating Ramadan because obviously she's a Muslim? But there are things I just can't talk to her about. I'm screaming inside with her. I've got to stand up to her because I got a birthday cake for you, but I gave it to my friend. What? Well, I wouldn't buy a birthday cake for someone and then give it to someone else. That doesn't make sense. She didn't even tell me she'd got me a birthday cake. Is she trying to tell me that she's a narcissist? I don't know what she's trying. Why would you buy a birthday cake for someone and then say, oh, I had a birthday cake for you, but I gave it to someone else. I can't listen to your problems. I've had an argument with my husband. She's got her husband to text me before. I tried to tell her in a text message about this primary school teacher attacking me in my own home. I live literally 2 minutes away from her. And she didn't want to know. Well, you must keep going on at your partner's, at Darren's parents. And I'm like, Amira, she's not listening to me. I said, I haven't seen my partner's parents since the start of our relationship. They left me to sleep rough, and she's not listening. So she gave me the other day, she gave me some delicious Iranian cuisine. She gave me an Iranian style biryani. Delicious. But I don't want her food, as delicious as it is. I want her ears. I want her empathy. But she's gone from texting me, you're such a brave girl, you make me realise how strong I am, to saying you don't help yourself, you're putting on me. It's like, I don't want to see her as a narcissist, but this is the sad thing. It's the same with my partner's parents. It's the same with my partner. And I've been having nightmares recently, and that's a trauma reaction. So I'm having to go through all the detoxification. But one thing's for sure, I know where I'm going to be when I die. I know where I'm going to be. I know where I'm going. A lot of people don't. I'm going to be in a really peaceful place. You're a long time dead. But it doesn't matter. I just know that, I would not want to swap places with these people, however easy their lives are. I worry about my sisters. I've got a transgender sister. My eldest sister doesn't love my transgender sister. She doesn't want me praying for her. She loves money, cars. She's got 3 houses between her. And that, because she's a bully and a narcissist, I can't. It was safer for me to sleep rough suicidal than it was for me to turn to her and accept anything from her because she's dangerous. She's so warped. She's got her idolatry. I'm very worried for she doesn't want me praying for her. She'll end up in hell. And she had the nerve to say to me that years ago she said to me, Bryony, if you take your own life, you'll end up in purgatory. She's not even a Catholic. I'm the one that was brought up Catholic. She was brought up C of E. But it's all lies, you know, Catholicism, C of E, all this stuff, it's lies. Lies, 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 lies. False teachings. I've never been in a better place than where I am. Praise Yahweh, praise Yahweh. Maybe Darren was sent to me. Maybe his mum was right, but I was sent to him. You know, let's cut out the narcissism. I was sent to him as well. Okay, so he brought me to the name of Yahweh. It's thanks to my partner that I got rid of all this idolatry and witchcraft and adamant and Baphomet. Bollocks. Freemasonry, MK Ultra. That man, no wonder that pop star that I idolised, he was writing to me saying he could relate to me, and yet he's full of demons. I think even the Tavistock Institute tortured Adamant in the same way they tortured Jeanette Archer. At Belmore Road, there was a woman telling me that she had been a victim of the Tavistock Institute, yet she didn't call herself a victim. She just said that she couldn't understand why they got her in there when she was 10 years old. And the funny thing is, she made up stories. She said, I made up stories for them because I was bored. I was adopted and they tried to get stuff out of me and I just made up stories. So I find that funny because the Tavistock Institute is, you know, all the institutions have been infiltrated by the Satanists, the Masons. So I find that funny. But is it a surprise that that there's human trafficking going on? There was the police once turned up at Belmore Road to say that a boy underage, I don't know, I can't remember how old, a teenager, had been reported missing from the London area. And I was like, why are you here? This is an all-female temporary accommodation. One woman had been lied to, been told that it was a women's refuge. It's not. It's whatever they want it to be. There were convicted criminals in there. The neighbours were complaining. The neighbours had a neighbourhood watch, and I was targeted by the police. And these cretins, yeah. Thanks for this. Thanks a lot. Thanks for putting this through our door. Anyway, I'll end it there for now.